everybody, Lee Scott here. Thank you for watching and or listening to this week's episode of Leading with Lee, where we talk about life, leadership, and legacy, and want to help you unleash your capacity and level of leadership. I'm so excited that you're here. But before I get into my subject today, if you have not done it yet, go and subscribe to Leading with Lee on YouTube and all podcasting platforms. Well, as you all know, I've been doing something different throughout the season, and I really have a subject today that I really think will be inspiring for you. And this is a really important month for me personally, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go. But just before I get really into our topic today, I want to give you my definition of leadership, because I believe leadership is something that we all have. I believe every person has a capacity and level of leadership. And so we all have to learn, how do we show up in the world and do this in very specific ways. So my leadership definition is this: leadership is seeing something that has not happened yet and taking people, organizations, and personal processes in that direction. Leadership is seeing something that has not yet happened yet and taking people, organizations, and personal processes in that direction. As I stated earlier, I've been doing something different this season, but I will say at this particular moment, we are halfway through the year. It is halfway through the year, and we are truly seeing some things happen so far in 2025. And if you are like me, you've been reflecting a little bit at this midpoint as it relates to what's been happening in your life or what's been going on in the world around you. And I can tell you a lot has been happening in my life and in my world. And I really, really have thought a lot about my subject today, because as we are at the midway point, this is an opportunity for you to reset, refocus, and think about how you're going to go forward. And I believe that it is time to do what my topic is today, is level up, level up. I got 4 points that I think will be inspiring to you and probably encourage you to make a difference in the world around you. But these 4 points are this: number one, every ending is attached to a new beginning. Secondly, a new level will require more and cost you something. Thirdly, live in the reality of more. And lastly, stretch. So let's talk about the first one. Every ending is attached to a new beginning. All of us are pretty familiar with a building and how buildings are built and structures are built. And generally, when a level is built on a building and they're going to build a level on top of it, most of the times becomes the ceiling of that building is the floor to the next one. And one of the things that I think is really important in your life is that you are building something, that you are growing whatever organization or thing that you're doing, but it's taking you to a certain point. Every birthday you experience is a different level. You are not the same age you were last year. Every stage of your career is a different thing. Every process in your relationships in your life has evolved and changed because it has brought a certain new beginning within your life. As many of you know, right now as I'm speaking, the NBA Finals is up on us. And one of the teams that is in the NBA Finals is the OKC Thunder, the Oklahoma City Thunder. And their star player is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, phenomenal player. He's been in the league for about 5 or 6 years now. And Shai has had a sensational season. He was the league MVP this year. He was the leading scorer of the league. And he just recently won the Western Conference Finals MVP. And we'll see what happens in the finals with him. It's going to be a very interesting finals to watch. But before he became a Thunder, many people know this, that he was drafted by the Charlotte Hornets. And the same night he was drafted, he was traded to the LA Clippers. And many people could take that situation and be like, man, there's a lot happening in my first experience with the NBA. I'm being drafted by one team and being traded the same night. And then now I'm going to a team that was at that point in a rebuilding stage, and they were trying to figure out what their identity was after Blake Griffin left, and they still had some young players and pieces around that team, and they were kind of transitioning as a team, but he only played for the Clippers for 1 year. And then the Clippers traded him for Paul George at the end of the 2018-2019 season. And that transition could have been a very devastating thing for SGA, as they call him. And he could have taken that experience and said, you know what, I don't know what I'm going to do with my career since I've been traded. I already experienced the first thing of being drafted and then not being invested in, but then traded the same night. I already experienced that. I already experienced just being with this team 1 year and still developing. I'm a rookie. You're going to trade me as soon as you get me. Like, do you really want me to succeed? And he could have taken that in that regard, but no, he decided that he was going to focus on developing and growing as a player. He took the perspective that, hey, this is a new season. LA was not the place that I probably needed to be. So let me take this opportunity to grow as a player. And since that, SGA has taken this new opportunity and it has paid off for him. He has had, since being traded to the Thunder, he has had about three all-star selections. He's been an all-NBA player. He, again, was a leading scorer for this season. He's helped the Thunder have 50-win seasons the last few years. He has developed into an elite player and one of the best basketball players in the league. But it was because he understood something, that ending of that one season in LA was an opportunity for him to start a new beginning. His new beginning is happening right now, where he's helping build a culture of winning in the city of Oklahoma City. And it is something that I think is important for you and I to recognize, that you and I can see that when something ends, it's an opportunity for us to have a positive perspective about the next thing. As I said, we have already, in the first 6 months of the year, we're in halfway through the year. And now it's an opportunity for us to think a little bit differently, to actually take some perspective and inventory and say, you know what? I'm going to focus in the second half of 2025, and I'm going to do some things that I did not accomplish in the first half. The year is halfway over, but I still believe that I have more opportunities to move forward and be productive and successful in my life. And I think that's really important for you and I to bear in mind as we are trying to move through our lives, whether it be in our relationships, whether it be at work, whether it be in any space that you are in. It's going to be really important for you to recognize, how do I see this as an opportunity to begin again? How do I see this as an opportunity to move forward and be productive and successful in the next space? Because I think that this is what I should be doing. And I hope that that's motivating for you as you are moving through your life and moving through the spaces that you're in. Secondly, a new level will require more and cost you something. There's something I've been thinking about as I've been really considering this topic of leveling up, that when you come into a new space, it's going to require more of you. It's going to require you to expand your capacity, to become more aware of what you should be doing. It's going to cost you more time. It's going to cost you more energy. It's going to cost you more engagement in relationships. It's going to cost you something, right? Some of you are experiencing this now as you have gotten a promotion at work, as you have gotten the opportunity to take on another business venture, or you've taken on a position within an organization, or you went from being engaged to being married, or being married to divorce, or being dating to now engaged, or something in your relationship has changed, or you've had a child, or you have had a child move out of your house, or whatever the case might be. You're experiencing a new thing, and now it's requiring something different from you than you previously had. And one of the things that I personally think is part of that is that you lose some level of anonymity. Now you're saying, Lee, what does it have to do with a new level? Well, sometimes sometimes when you're coming to a new season, there's a level of being known that is a part of that new season. There's an artist that you probably are familiar with. Her name is Summer Walker. she shares often in some of her interviews and different things like that about how she has canceled concert dates because she deals with social anxiety. And though she's an artist and someone who puts music out there, she feels a level of fear when she's around a lot of people and in those spaces because that requires her to be a lot more extroverted than she probably wants to be. And that's really interesting to consider because she has went from one place of just maybe singing on YouTube into being a full-fledged R&B artist that people love to go and see and people love to hear her music. And she's saying, hey, I recognize, even though I wanted to share my artistry with people, I didn't recognize or realize that it actually would bring on some more stress for me emotionally. And for many of you, you may be saying, okay, I'm not Summer Walker. I'm not losing my anonymity. But you're going to lose it in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Because when you take on a new role, that means that there's some vulnerability that has to be there in order for you to be successful in that space. You're going to have to come into those spaces saying, hey, I have a certain particular set of skills and I'm going to operate in this space and be productive, but I may not do it all the way correctly the first time. I may have to have some learning curves here as I'm operating in this space. I may have to adjust my movement as I'm operating in this space. And one of the things that I think is really important about what Summer is saying is that, hey, she has an acknowledgement of where she is. She's acknowledging that she has some limitations and how she's functioning in those spaces. And I think it's going to be really important for you to note that as you are building, as you are doing things that are new in this space that you are in, it's going to require you to do some things differently. And it may cost you some level of anonymity. Me, and I'm recognizing this in my own life, is there's some costs for me not to say certain things I need to say. I learned that in marriage. My wife and I will be married 1 year literally this month. And one of the things that I've learned very quickly is that it is important for me to share information. I have lost anonymity. I have lost some level of somebody not knowing how I feel or what's going on with me. Because in marriage and in my relationship, I have to articulate what I'm feeling or what I'm experiencing. And I think it's really important for you and I to keep this in mind, that we are in an environment where we have to, it's going to cost you. It's going to force you to have to say some things that you typically would say. Now that I'm married, I have to say some things to my wife that I typically would just keep to myself because I am required to share that information now. And the second part of understanding that very thing that I'm talking about is that your decisions are not individualistic anymore. There's an old adage that says, heavy is the head that wears the crown. That is not just about you. It's not about what you specifically feel or what you are only experiencing. It is impacting the individuals that are connected to your life. And if you recognize that your decisions are not isolated, you will tend to approach them with a level of care and a level of consideration that is productive for you in the work that you're doing. That's something that you and I have to think about. We have to consider the impact of our decisions. We have to consider, hey, if I decide to go in this particular direction, what is going to be the variables that impact other people in my life? What are going to be the variables? Some of you are parents who may be listening to this or watching this. You have to consider the variables of the decisions that you make as a parent. You have to consider that if I take my child to this camp, or if I don't take them to this camp, or if I take them to this place, or if I do this particular thing, it's going to have an impact on what happens in my child's life and the impact that happens on me as a result of putting them in that situation. You have to consider all of those things. You have to think about them in that way. And so what has to be a priority for you is that you recognize that this cost is very, very important. That you can't be trivial in your attitude about the cost. You can't be trivial in your belief about the cost, because that cost has a resounding impact on people around you. Again, as I stated earlier, as a husband now, the decision I make has a significant impact on my wife, whether I want them to or not. We just purchased a home, and I can tell you every day I get up, I'm reminded, hey, Lee, your decisions in this house has an impact on you and your wife. The grass that needs to be cut, the decorations that we put in the house, the furniture, anything, like the bills that we have to pay, there are some impacts. I have to go to work, because if I don't go to work, we can't pay the bills, right? If I just woke up one day and say, I'm not going to go to work, well, there's an impact. It costs me more to not go to work. It costs me more to not be responsible with my finances. It costs me more to do the things that I have to do every day. I have to practice good stewardship because the costs are higher. It's different. I lived in an apartment and I was a single guy. Right? So you're tracking. So again, heavy is the head that wears the crown. It's a part of what happens when you are an individual who is building something. You have to know how to operate in these spaces and be very aware of the impact of your decisions. I'm very aware of the impact of my decisions. I have to have a mitigation perspective. My job is to reduce risk. That means that I don't take them. It means to reduce harm in doing the risky things. Some of you, as you're watching this or listening to this right now, you got to think in terms of what risky thing that I need to do and how do I reduce the harm that it possibly could have on the individuals that are connected to me. Because now is a really important time for you to reevaluate the impact of the work that you are specifically doing right now. What if the work that you're doing right now is actually not as productive as it could be? And if you look at the first 6 months of this year, you can legitimately say you were not as succinct or effective as you could have been because you did not do the work of evaluating where you were. And so now you have to live with the realities of what you didn't do well. Now you have to think about, okay, how can we improve and move differently? Okay, how can we manage more? How can we do more that pushes us in the right direction? And that really matters. But I'm gonna stop right here, and I'll be right back after this message. I think my last 2 points are really going to be impactful. So please stick around, and I'll be right back after this message. Want to promote your business, products, or services? Email me at scottconsultations@gmail.com. I would love to push forward the banner of what you're trying to accomplish, whether it is a product, whether it's your services or your business. I would love to work with you and be an advocate for what you're doing in your respective spaces. Thank you, and I look forward to hearing from you. And we are back. Thank you for watching or listening to this episode. I hope it's been inspiring to you so far and that you have been motivated to go and make a difference in the world around you. I got 2 more points, and I hope that it inspires you as I'm sharing them. And I would share pretty quickly because I think that this can be helpful to you. So my third point is live in the reality of more. Now, some of you may be thinking, this is an interesting point that Lee is about to make. Because as I said, or I was talking about a little bit earlier, that I'm facing new challenges in my own personal life with now being a homeowner, that there's some responsibilities. I don't have a landlord. I am the landlord. If I need to get something fixed or something done in my house, excuse me, it is because I own the home. No, nobody else is going to come and fix it and come and do it. And there is something that is really potent about that, that though you have been used to other people doing it for you, there's something powerful about understanding how to embrace the challenges, but also embrace your power when you step into a moment. Many of you know I share on here, especially almost every single episode at this point, about the experience I had earlier this year running for office. But there's some things that happened as a result post me running for office that have been impactful. And some things have not totally been solidified yet. But there's one thing I can share on here, two things I can share on here that has happened as a byproduct of me running for office. And just about a month or two ago, I joined an organization, a very significant organization here in Mississippi, and it's a national organization that has chapters across the country, and they have a Mississippi chapter, the Mississippi Urban League. I became a member of their Young Professionals organization. Well, in that, I have been appointed president of the Young Professionals Auxiliary. I'm being tasked with growing and developing the organization. And obviously, this is the first time in my career, I think, that I have been able to be appointed to something where I'm leading in a particular way and trying to help the organization grow. And I think I'm sharing this because I think it is a moment for me to live in reality that, hey, Lee, people know who you are now. People have put association with your name, and you are being required to show up a particular way and be effective in the things that you are doing. And now, being the president of this organization, how this is the first auxiliary that this organization has, the Mississippi Urban League has ever had in Mississippi. They've had done this before, from my understanding. They've never had a young professionals organization, or being one of the newest ones in the country. We get to lay the groundwork for what this organization will be in years to come. And I get to be at the helm, to get the opportunity, and a humbling opportunity to be at the helm of that. And how we do it is really important. And I've had to come to grips with the fact that me being at the head of this is not by accident. It was by design. Someone chose to pick me. A group of people chose to pick me to be their leader. They said, hey, Lee, you are the one that we are trusting and going to support in leading the efforts of our organization. We trust that you will be the one that will help us shape the future that we desire for this organization, that we will not just be an organization in name only, but we are be a very organized and engaged entity that is doing significant work in the state of Mississippi. And I think one of the things that it's telling me is that, Lee, you have to acknowledge your leadership. You have to embrace your leadership skills. You have to step into your power. You have to step into this space and say, hey, I am the right person at this right moment to do this work. Also, I became a board member. I've been appointed as a board member of this organization called the Marshalls Collective, started by a friend of mine who I went to high school with, Justin Porter, who is building this organization that's going to start doing a lot of work here in the state of Mississippi. He came to me and he approached me to be a board member. I didn't ask for it. He approached me. Him approaching me is because he thought my opinion or my expertise brought value to the organization, brought value to what he was building. Here's what I'm saying to you and what I'm trying to encourage you by sharing what I've been experiencing. It is very important that you embrace the opportunities that are afforded to you. Don't shrink back from the opportunity to be authentically yourself, to fully operate in your capacity, to truly be impactful in the spaces that you are in. Why? Because it's a disservice to the people that you are engaging with if you don't show up authentic. You are the right individual to serve in that role that you are serving in within that organization. They could have asked somebody else, but they asked you. With the Urban League, they asked me here in Mississippi to lead this cause of growing our organization. Like any of the other members could have been the individual that leads the organization. They could have voted for anybody else or chose somebody else. Heck, we didn't even in some way we didn't even have an election. It was because our organization is still so small. They were like, "Hey, let's appoint somebody," and I got nominated and was told, "Hey, Lisa be the one." I mean, who does that? But even in that, it lets me know that I should be living in the reality hey, this is an opportunity for me to grow. This is an opportunity for me to exercise my power. This is an opportunity for me to operate in a space where I can be effective and actually cause change in the community that I am a part of. And you have that opportunity too. You need to live in being pushed to do more. You need to live in that space. You need to own it. It is about you owning that space. It's about you saying, hey, I deserve to be here. I'm supposed to be here. I've done everything necessary for me to be in this environment. That's important for you to keep in mind. And it's important for you to operate in as you are trying to make a difference in your world. My last point is stretch. Because when you're owning a space, when you've owned a space, it's real dangerous to get comfortable. Some of you have stepped into new positions in certain aspects of your life, whether it be relationships, whether it be in your job or whatever. You have stepped into a new responsibility. But it's not enough to embrace that responsibility. You have to stretch. You have to expand. You have to get more inventory in how you do the work that you do. And I took a little time to look at it from a fitness perspective. We all know about the idea of stretching. And I did some research about the benefits of stretching. And one benefit, it increases increases flexibility, It helps with range of motion. It improves circulation. It causes stress relief and pain reduction. Now let's apply that to every aspect of life. Let's talk about increased flexibility. You are able to do more when you go beyond what you are in right now. You're able to do more when you become more flexible, when you stretch yourself, when you do more. You're able to operate differently. You are more resilient and adaptable as a result of you increasing in that space. Many of us need to really push ourselves to go beyond what we are doing right now. If your organization has conferences or has growing opportunities, if there's an opportunity for you to learn a trade or learn a particular skill or go online and read something or whatever, you should take every opportunity to continuously be a student and grow. It's a challenge for you and I to really understand the necessity of us actually doing more right now. The second thing, range of motion. You got to be able to change gears or pace when necessary. As a leader, you got to be able to move and have the dexterity to shift if you need to. That's a part of stretching. You got to be able to know, hey, if this doesn't work, maybe I need to try something else. I don't know about you. I like watching some particular competition shows, and ones that I like in particular are food competition shows. My wife's favorite show as far as food is concerned, is Master Chef. And one of the things about that show is you will always have moments where those chefs will either lose certain ingredients, or they may not have what they need, or they may run out of something, or they may burn something or leave something in the oven for too long, and their time is being reduced. And they have to figure out how to improvise, how to move around that. And so many of them shift gears. They say, hey, I intended to make this dish, but because I have only a certain amount of time, I'm going to change the whole approach and do something different because I think that this is going to be the best way for me to win this round of the competition. And some of you have to think about that, have to think this way. You got to be able to change gears. Your range of motion, your ability to do things quickly has to increase, because in order for you to make a difference in the spaces that you are in, you got to be flexible. You got to be durable. You got to be able to shift really quickly. Improving circulation. You can think more clearly when you have more clarity. Again, I'm going to say that again. You can think more clearly when you have more clarity. In other words, it's important that you be able to process information a little bit differently. When you have more perspective, when you have more capacity or space within your mind and the things you're thinking about, you're able to move a little bit differently. And it's really important for you as a leader, you as an individual. And as I said, everybody is a leader. Every person has a capacity and level of leadership. So don't get wrapped up in the idea that it's just a title. It's not. It's a way that you move and operate in the world. It's a mindset, as I always say. You got to be able to think more clearly. When you think more clearly, you have more clarity. You got to allow yourself to get in spaces where you're improving what you hear, what you see, what you think. All those things are part of stretching. And we need leaders that are willing to do that. Next, stress relief. Creativity thrives when you are not distracted. I mean, your creativity increases when you spend time trying to go further and you're not distracted by things that are happening in your life. And trust me, there's so many things that try to distract you. It's just a part of it. There are so many things that try to distract you. But when you find a way to remove distraction and focus in on your creativity, your ability to do more increases exponentially, because you have now put things in the proper perspective. And lastly, pain reduction. You can operate in peace when you have space for it. You can operate in peace when you have space for it. Why? Because you can and will bounce back. All of these things are part of stretching. All these things are part of what you and I should be operating in as we are going to the next level. Listen, it matters that you get in your mind about what you're going to do for the rest of the year. You got 6 months to do it. You don't have all day. You have 6 months to accomplish the goal that you said you were going to accomplish. Maybe for somebody who's listening to me right now, you're saying, hey, my goal is to lose 40 pounds this year or 50 pounds this year. My goal is to gain weight. My goal is to read X amount of books this year. My goal is to save X amount of money. My goal is to improve my quality of life, or improve my relationships, or buy this, or really save this, or pay this off, or get rid. Whatever the thing might be for you, you have 6 months to do it. You got 6 months. You can't go back to January. You can't go back and relitigate everything that's happened in the first 6 months. Your job right now is to think about what it is that I'm going to do from July until December. Because that's your responsibility. It hasn't come yet. If you're listening to this after that time, you still got time. But it's going to take you seeing it as an opportunity. You got to level up. I'm telling you right now, I'm being required to level up. And how I think and how I operate and how I function, I'm being required to level up because that's the way that I'm going to possess my future. I can't wait to see you next time here on Leading. Much love. Take care of yourself. And I will see you next time here as we talk about leveling up on Leading with Lee. See you soon. Thank you for watching and listening to this week's episode of Leading with Lee. I'm so grateful that you have listened and engaged with this content. And if you want to learn more information about me, visit www.leadingwithlee.co to know about my services and things that I am doing. I hope that you also follow me on social media at Leading with Lee and follow me on my personal social media at Lee A. Scott II or Lee A. Scott II on all social media platforms. I'm so grateful that you've listened. I'm so grateful that you engage this content. Much love, and let's get started.